Hey, welcome back. I'm Tim Ellis, and this is part two to a video I just created on basically showing you how you could create a custom color palette from a painting either that you've done or that you found online or even from a photograph. So what I wanted to show you how to do now is to take that color palette and to colorize a black and white photo that you are excited to paint, or maybe just for a digital piece where you wanted to use a custom palette to do that. So that's what I'm going to show you next. So here we go. I'm going to be doing this on an iPad, so I'm going to open up the project I just had open. Here we go. All right, so on the right is the painting that I used to make this palette. This is a painting I did of Paul Gauguin, and on the left is just a photograph I found online that I am going to colorize. I'm going to show you how to do this. So I like using, in Procreate, something called a gradient map. And it's a super powerful editing tool, and I'm going to show you how to use it. I'm actually just going to undo this, inserting this image of Paul Gauguin because I don't really need it right now. And I'm going to select my layer of my lady here and make it just a little more central for you. So let me show you how this gradient map thing works. So under this little magic wand tool, which is the second one on the top left, so it goes gallery, toolbar, and then little magic wand. So hit your magic wand. Right, 4 down is gradient map. So gradient map takes all your tones and it looks at what black is and what white is and what all your midtones of gray are, and it will colorize those. So you can choose to make everything that's black red or everything that's black blue. Let me show you an example. So hit gradient map, and if you're following along, you can do this with me. So there's going to be all these pre-existing gradient maps that I'm scrolling through. So for instance, this the one that just says gradient on mine is this really brilliant red and blue. So I'm just going to look at my beginning image again. So it's taking some tone that's in this photograph and assigning that red to that, and it's assigning purple to another tone, and also this blue. So right now you can scroll through all these different ones, and there's a lot of really cool ones. This is one I made from painting. I called it Fauvist. Technically, it's not actually Fauvist, but it's a painting that I found that I really liked by Van Gogh, or if you're Dutch, Van Gogh, I believe. Thanks to my friends from Holland. So anyway, you can scroll through this and really see some interesting colors that you can assign to things. But what's cooler is making your own gradient map. So here's what I mean. If you look on the far right of where it says gradient map, oh, by the way, if you click on one of these, you can edit these. So that's really great too. Let me just show you that really quickly. So this one that says gradient, if I click on it, what it's showing you is all these circles are where it's assigning colors to a different tone. On the far right is white, on the far left is black. It's hard to slide these around. You're supposed to be able to slide them. Procreate, fix this. I don't know what's with it, but sometimes you can just, I'm going to try to grab the far right white, and if you touch it, it should be able to be slid, but sometimes it just does not want to do that. Sometimes if you wiggle it, it will allow you to slide it. I'm trying. It's not working for me right now. So I'm actually just going to go ahead and hit this little check mark, and now we're back to where we were. But you can change those around, and you can assign new colors to each one of those circles. That's what we're about to do. So here we go. Under gradient map, hit plus. Now, here is what is really interesting. We can use our color palette to assign colors to this black and white image. On the far left is black. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit the little black circle, and what it's going to do is ask me what color I would like to put there. Now, it automatically reverted to the palette that I just created. But if you scroll up and down, you can access any palette that's in your color library, and there's not that many in this one because I haven't used this one very often. So I'm going to use Paul Gauguin 2, which is the one I just made, and you can see it looks black, but the darkest color in here is in the upper right hand corner right next to brown. It's like a super dark brown, so I'm going to assign that dark brown to it. You can see that looks a little bit different than it did a second ago. So it was this black, and then I assigned this dark brown to it. It's a slight change. Okay, now let's do our lightest light. So here is my white, And there is no white in this color palette. So I'm going to choose the brightest color, which is this one at the bottom kind of center, which is this gray. Not too exciting yet. So let's do a midtone. So when I click on the center of this little grayscale at the bottom, it makes a new circle. I can make as many of these circles as I want, or as few. So I could, if you wanted something to be kind of shepherd fairy-ish, you could choose like 3 or 4 colors. That tends to be what he does. I'm going to click this circle, and I'm going to choose something that I feel is fairly mid-tone on this. A way to do that is kind of squint at your colors, and you'll see them tonally a little bit more. So this dark red at the top left is kind of a pretty good mid-tone. Now that already looks pretty cool. And I think if I hit my circle, that'll go away again so I can see what I'm doing. No, it won't. I just clicked off it, and now you can see what I've got so far. Now this is pretty boring right now. Let me see if it'll allow us to slide this circle around. Sometimes it will, sometimes it won't. No, it's not working for me. Oh, I got the black to move. So I'm sliding the black. Now, if I slide it to the far right, I'm telling it, hey, I want white to be black. And if I slide it to the middle, I'm saying I want midtone to be black. And if I slide it to the far left, it's making black. But because I have red and white there, it's doing things a little bit weirder than that. But you can see as I move it, it's going to change it radically. But I could also just reassign those colors. So let's go in between this red and this gray. And I'm going to click that. And I'm going to do something that's fairly bright. I think I'm going to do this bright yellow. And notice now we're really starting to dramatically change this image. Now I'm going to go in between black and red. And I'm going to use one of my super dark blues there. And you can see it's really starting to change the image now. And it's graphically becoming pretty interesting. Now, just to mess around with this a little bit, if you do get your little circles to allow you to slide them, sometimes you just have to hold it for a couple seconds and then it will allow you to. I don't know how I got it to work a minute ago. Oh, I was able to wiggle it. Hey, by the way, if you know the secret to get these to want to slide, please add it to my comments because me and my students would be thrilled to know it. I got the black to move again, but the other ones don't want to move for me. I don't know. So let's add a few more colors. So I'm going to go in between the red and the yellow. And I think I'm going to use this orange there. That's a little too similar to the one I already have. So I think I'm going to move this yellow to, I'm going to assign this a little bit more of a brown tone. And I would like a lighter blue as well. So let's put this really light blue in. Now that changed things really dramatically. Notice around her face, I'm going to zoom in on this a little bit if it will let me. If I zoom in on her face, you can really see some of those light edges are just looking really spectacular. By the way, in Procreate, you can zoom in and out of things, and it's not actually going to change the cropping of your image unless you're in the move feature. Then it'll do terrible things. So I always say to my students, terrible things will happen. Don't do that. But if you can slide these, which you can see I'm epically failing at getting these to slide. But you know, if you wanted to slide it, the other thing you could do is you can just reassign colors. So remember, we're working from our color palette. So I could make this red, this dark blue, and I could make the dark blue the red. I accidentally added a second circle there. And if you do want to get rid of one, by the way, you can just hit delete. And that obviously changed things a lot. So you can really have fun with this, and you can, like I said, just assign a few colors, or you could assign a lot. I just added some of the aqua to this far right. So I initially was recommending that you do it tonally, you know, from bright to dark colors, but you don't have to. You can really break the rules. Now, I think that looks pretty weird. I'm not really liking that. So once again, if you don't like it, you can just click it, and sometimes you have to click off of it. And then you can delete that particular one. There it did that for us. And sometimes, hey, I think I got that to slide. Sometimes you can also get it to slide. Hey, that one's sliding for us. So check it out. I'm going to move this way around. And you can see that's really going to change what our image looks like, especially if I make the black bright, which, you know, it's going to change all of those tones, which is pretty exciting. So anyway, here's where this becomes powerful. Now, I'm not very happy with the way she looks right now. I think I'd actually like to spend a little more time colorizing this. I'm going to add a dark red right there. And I might add one more light color in here. How about a bright green? And see it right now, my gradient map is called gradient map. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give it a name now. So I'm going to call this Paul Gauguin, because it is based on my Paul Gauguin painting. All right, so now here's what's cool. So now I've got a gradient map called Paul Gauguin. I forgot to capitalize Paul. By the way, if you want to edit this, you can just click on it, and it's even going to suggest that I capitalize Paul. Hooray! So now it's showing up right at the bottom. I've got my Paul Gauguin colors. Now, just to give you some perspective, you could still completely change your mind on this and make it any color you want. And let's say you did assign some colors to this and then change your mind. That's pretty far out. Like, let's say you did this and you decided that's what I want, and then you get out of gradient map and you wish you didn't. You can just undo. So in Procreate, you can two-finger click to undo things. And there's also little undo and redo switches here on the far left that I'm toggling back and forth under these sliders. So you can undo or redo, and you can put things back. So let's recap. We made a color palette in the prior video, and then we just made a gradient map of that color palette so that we can colorize photos. And we could say, hey, I really wish I had a photo that or a color palette to colorize a photo based on this other painting I did, and you can do that. You could also find a painting online. Let's say you really wanted, something to match the colors of Starry Night. You could do the exact same thing. So, thanks for tuning in. I hope this helped. Feel free to make comments. I'd love to hear your feedback on this, especially if you have the secret to the sliders. I am not a Procreate expert, but I am starting to use Procreate more and more to create images from my paintings. All right, if you liked this, please hit like, subscribe, and by the way, if you like my teaching style, I teach beginning drawing all the way from drawing like a stick figure to where you can draw pretty photorealistically with pencil. That class is something you can access the first few lessons for free if you sign up for my mailing list, which I will put a link below. Check it out. Tim Ellis, over and out.